the road. There's no point in running away now. I'd rather sleep until the storm is gone. She'd rather be shooting at me now. I know it will end up in anger. I don't think we grew up, we just became older. She's aiming her words, ready to fire. I don't think that bullets will bring back desire. I don't think that bullets will bring back desire. Looks like a blink of an eye's not enough. She'd rather be staying for days now. I'd rather fix it than mess up again. She'd rather be burning it all now. I know it will end up in anger. I don't think we grew up, we just became older. She's aiming her words, ready to fire. I don't think that bullets will bring back desire. I don't think that bullets will bring back desire.
Welcome to the show, Jason Bible, Texas Real Estate Radio Network, from the world-renowned Mr. Texas Real Estate team, broadcasting here at the Texas Real Estate Investment Center. We are open for business. Just had our partner meeting and an update on leases here. I think we have less than 6 office spaces. So for those of y'all who are still interested, shoot me an email, jason@mrtxre.com, jason@mrtxre.com, if you want an office here in the Texas Real Estate Investment Center. When I say less than 6, it might only be 3 at this point. I sent some emails out this morning with some vendors and potential tenants this morning. So I think I sent 3 or 4, and I wouldn't be surprised if all or at least half of them taking office here. So if you guys want to be at the epicenter here of Houston real estate, this is the place to be. So in any case, that's my infomercial for the office here and in Houston. So today's show, we're going to talk about who my mentor is. And I think a lot of people, I've got consultants. Let me put it that way. We have a business consultant in Southern California. His name's Casey. He's absolutely incredible. We get him on a 30, 45-minute phone call, and the number of ideas that come out of there are just insane. And they're all fantastic. So we've got consultants that we use, if you will. But a lot of people ask me, well, who is your mentor? Like, who do you, Jason? You got a mentor, like a super secret mentor that I can tap into? That's really the question they're asking. Like, Jason, can I just get the guy that's coaching you now? And truth be told, there isn't one. So one of my favorite authors out there is a guy by the name of Aaron Clary. He wrote the best book on the housing crash called The Insider's Guide to the Housing Crisis, published the day Bear I'm not having a great day with the conversations. The day that Bear Stearns went under, like he was writing this book as it happened. I don't believe any author who's written a book on the housing crisis wrote and published their book as the crisis began. So as far as I'm concerned, he and Michael Burry are the only guys that got this right. Everybody else just goes back and looks at history, and anybody can write a history book. It's not that hard. Heck, we wrote our book in 3 days without a ghostwriter. So, like, it's not that hard to write a book about history. It's really hard to write a book about the future. And that's essentially what he did. So, big fan of his. But in any case, when people ask me, like, hey, who's your mentor? Who do you do? In one of Aaron Clary's book, he says at some point in your career, if you're really pushing the envelope, you become nearly peerless. What does that mean? It's the old proverbial saying, like the air gets real thin at the top, the number of people that are at the top get real small, like there's not a whole lot of them. Heck, we all vacation in the same place. A lot of times we send our kids to the same schools. Like it starts getting pretty thin at the top. You start looking around, you're like, how many guys in Houston are buying 10, 15, 20 houses a month? Are there a dozen of us? Maybe. And there are like 10 of us? There's not a whole lot. So who then is your mentor? Some people will look to religion, and that's fine. But when it comes down to the tactical and strategy building part of your business, who's your mentor? And I get this question all the time. I got it all day Thursday. Who's your business coach now, Jason? Is there, and what I realized is I said, look, the only business coach or mentor I read every day is the market. The market is my mentor. Now, here's the thing. The market doesn't speak plain English. There gets to a point in your career where you now have to be able to analyze what's going on in the world and how you're going to manage those changes with your portfolio. There's an expectation. If you guys have gone to grad school before, and some of y'all who've got PhDs will get this, what you realize is by the time you get to your terminal degree, that's what a PhD is, that you know much less than you thought you did. And your job as this high-level academic is then to discover things. There's nobody out there coaching you to discover things. Your career, your field of study becomes your mentor. Now, you've got colleagues and peers for which you can bounce ideas off of. Maybe you have a mastermind group. That's what we call it here in the real estate industry. This group of peers who are at different levels, but all playing the game. And you can share market intelligence and best practices, those sorts of things. But there's never going to be someone standing there telling you what to do. In fact, a lot of folks in our mastermind are at this level. It's like there is no, we are not doing coaching sessions on how to fill out a TREC contract or what paragraph 9 is. We're just not doing that. Go to the internet, read that. What we are having discussions about is what marketplaces should we be buying in based off what the market is telling us. But here's the challenge. The market speaks a language that most will never understand. The market speaks a language that most will never understand. The market, like success, doesn't pick people. You have to pick yourself. I'll give you a great example of this. A buddy of mine a couple years ago sold his last company for, let's say, between 200 and 400 million. I won't give you the exact number. He's got a non-compete, non-disclosure, all that nonsense. So let's call it between 2 and 400. We're sitting there having beers one day. This is a couple years after he sold his company. He's exiting his non-compete, so he's about to start another organization. And we're talking about success. And he said, Jason, what's really interesting? Success is a door. And truth be told, there's a bunch of doors out there. And they all lead to success, provided you keep knocking. He said, look, man, the club is welcome to anyone. The Success Club is welcome to anyone. The problem is most people quit knocking before someone answers the door. But the club is completely open. The fact that people are not successful in America amazes me to this day. The amount of excuses are incredible. Like, this is the most amazing place to create wealth. Actually, there's a lot of things lately about life when I hear people complain I just don't get. We get back from the break. We're going to talk about the market. This is Jason Bible, Texas Real Estate Radio Network. Sorry, guys, I hate to drink actually on the show, but I just did my 45-minute little walk around the neighborhood here. I'm getting additionally acclimated to the weather because I've got the Hotter Than Hell coming up in August, and it's a little warm out there. It's a little warm with A-Rock's like, I don't even wear... A-Rock's down the point where he's going to start wearing a bathing suit and a muscle shirt to work. Like, it's getting that bad, right? Even inside, even the building with the AC, if you go outside, it's awful. All right, finally back up here. Welcome back, Jason Bible, Texas Real Estate Radio Network, with the world-renowned Mr. Texas Real Estate team here at the crown jewel of Houston real estate, the Texas Real Estate Investment Center. Welcome back. I was talking about who our mentor is. And our mentor is the marketplace. Now, what's fascinating is when I mention the marketplace, people assume the stock market, the real estate market. I'm talking about all markets. There's the networking market. There's the friendship market, who your friends are, that sort of thing. There's the dating market. There's all these different marketplaces. They're all the same. If you know how to listen and know the language the market speaks, it will tell you everything. But most folks don't have the discipline to study the language of the market. And it's not dorky stuff like stocks and bonds and how do you evaluate equities versus how you evaluate bonds. It's not any of that. In fact, Al Torres talked a little bit about this when we were all on the panel, and I don't think most people got it, just to be completely transparent. When he mentioned it, I was like, I bet most folks are not getting this. He's a trader, not like a trader against the Republic. He's a not even a day trader. He just trades. That's how he builds his wealth. And one of the fascinating things I found is when he started talking about the marketplace. He said, hey, pick an industry, a couple of stocks, and then go after it. And he's absolutely right. And so a lot of people are confused, like, well, I thought diversification was key. And I didn't get up there and start my tirade against diversification, but I said, how do you become good at anything if you're diversified? I mean, do you want a surgeon? God forbid something happens to you. We had a family member that had a heart attack recently. Do you want your cardiologist to be a diversified professional? I don't. Personally, I want him to be thinking about hearts all day and then dream about them at night. I don't want him thinking about, I was thinking about getting into plastic. I was thinking about doing cheeks and noses and, augmentations. And then I was kind of thinking about getting into oncology, pancreatic cancer, kind of had a little passion there. And then maybe next week I'll go back into cardiology. No, that's not what I want. I want the best cardiologist on the planet, and that's all he does. He works and he dreams about hearts or the cardiovascular system. That's all I want that guy to do. So when people tell me you got to diversify, what that immediately tells me is, oh, you want to be average at best. Like, that's really what most people are saying. Oh, Jason, I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to diversify. Oh, you want to be average at best. Most people in every marketplace are average at best. I know that is really painful to hear, but it's true. You don't become extraordinary by diversifying your skills. You don't become extraordinary by diversifying your talents. It is impossible to do so. I will not become a world-class competitive cyclist because, quite simply, I just don't have the time. It would be fun, but I'm spending all of my time in real estate. I don't think people really get this. Like, from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, I am reading, talking, analyzing real estate. Last night, had a great time. Went out to this really cool wine bar, had a great dinner. We had one of these wine pairings, and it was pretty good. And I'm sitting there, and people are emailing me stories and sending me stuff on Facebook, and I'm just getting this constant flow of information. And what that constant flow of information is, the marketplace is speaking. And you've got to have a skill set to be able to read the marketplace. My market is, if you look at most of my portfolio, is single-family real estate in Texas. Do I care what's going on in Minneapolis or in San Diego or in Denver? Now, don't get me wrong. I know tangentially about those marketplaces. The same forces at play here in Houston are also at play in those markets. But I'm not an expert in those marketplaces, and I don't have to be. I mean, I'm looking at a place right now in Coronado, and I'm looking at another place in Vegas. So I have to be somewhat familiar with those submarkets, but it's really just to buy a place, Airbnb it, and play around a couple of times a year. But when it comes to Houston, Texas, I better be the guy that's the most informed guy in the marketplace. And I can tell you right now, there are very few. What's fun about real estate is, especially in Texas, you don't have to be particularly bright to be successful here. All you have to do is buy, sit, and wait. Everyone thinks they've got to have this grandiose level of knowledge to go buy real estate. I'm like, look, you don't spend that time on your 401k. You just go invest in some ETF or mutual fund and move on. Why? Because your returns will be average at best. What you need to get good at in real estate is action. Like, education for education's sake is a complete waste of time. In fact, I saw Rob Trigg posted something about passion. He said, passion is free. I agree with that. But you know how you become passionate about something? You start doing. You don't sit there and go to another seminar, listen to another webinar, sit on another Zoom call half awake. You get to work. You're really not going to know if you like something until you get to work. I'll make it even more simple, because this is one of those principles of a marketplace that is ubiquitous in all marketplaces. You don't know if you like somebody until you go on that date. Or you date for a while. Meaning, there's got to be some action, right? We got to go out and kind of get to know each other. So if that never occurs, then how do you know if this is a good asset or not? So if you're sitting there waiting on the sidelines, waiting for the perfect mentor, the perfect coach, the perfect time to invest, I'm telling you, it's never going to come. If you're one of these folks like, I want to buy single family and multifamily, and I want to do some trading, and I want to do this and this, Guess how successful you're going to be? Average at best. You will be average at best, which probably means you won't even be average. If you look at a lot of where you spend your time, like, I do a lot of happy hours. I go out. In fact, I'm doing a happy hour today with a buddy of mine before I hang out with my sons. We're watching Loki, by the way, which is an absolutely incredible show. If you guys have not seen it, it's on Disney Plus. Probably one of the top 3 shows I've watched in the last couple years. Amazing. So I'm going to go to this happy hour, and granted, this guy's a friend of mine, but we're going to talk about the marketplace. We're going to talk about real estate for like an hour or two. We're also launching a new podcast, and I'll have some, and it's not real estate related, I'll tell you that. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to need a home for the podcast, by the way. So you've got to be in the marketplace, speaking to the marketplace, doing things in the marketplace to figure out how it speaks to you. We get back from the break, we'll talk more about action and markets, the ultimate mentors. Jason Bible, Texas Real Estate Radio Network. Welcome back, Jason Bible, Texas Real Estate Radio Network. Here in the Texas Real Estate Investment Center, the crown jewel of Houston real estate investing. Today we're talking about my mentor, the marketplace. And I'm talking about any marketplace. I'm shopping for cars right now. Very interesting marketplace right now. The computer chip shortage is having a massive impact in the car market. In fact, the 2 cars I've been looking at for the last year and a half have gone up between 50 and 60 grand. Absolutely insane. New car prices are up 10%, used car prices are up 20%. Like, I'm thinking about selling the whole fleet right now, because I do think that is temporary. The new Lambo is coming out pretty soon here. I don't know if that's public or not, but and let me tell you how I know. The R8 was discontinued last year, which is on the same platform as the Huracan. So the new Huracan's coming out pretty soon here. In fact, I don't know, A-Rock, you want to Google that one? I'm sure there's been a press release on it. My guess is 22. The new GT3 is out. They're already shooting spy photos of the new GT3 RS, which is the 992.2, I think. I know you Porsche nerds will get in here and just nerd out on me. There are 2 groups of car people that might be the most annoying car people on the planet. And I like them both. And I own one of them. You Land Cruiser guys and the Porsche guys. Like, they're always the weirdest people at the party. and maybe I shouldn't say all Porsche and Land Cruiser guys, but the ones that know every single model designation and know every single part. Sometimes I'm like, you guys need a life, bro. Anyways. But I can tell you those guys are not average at best. They're experts in their fields, right? In fact, there's a rumor out there that there's a McLaren F1, I want to say it's an LM, with less than 4,000 miles that's about to hit the auction block. They're saying 15 million, but I thought, man, that sounds 10 million low. So somebody have to correct me on that one, but I thought very interesting. So the car market's really interesting right now. And the car market, I've joined a bunch of different groups on Facebook. The car market will tell you a lot about what's going on in the consumer world. I mean, drive by some of these dealerships. Like, Toyota seems to be the worst hit with this thing. You drive by a Toyota dealership, I'm like, where are all the cars and trucks? It's crazy. There's nothing in the lot. But the marketplace will tell you everything you need to know. It is the ultimate mentor. Could be relationships, could be cars, could be real estate, stock market. So when you start talking, or the marketplace starts talking to you, the marketplace will tell you what the marketplace believes is the most important. And by the way, none of these are your feelings. I've shared this with a lot of people. I don't force deals in the marketplace. If the marketplace wants me to have a deal, it'll give it to me. I'll throw this gem on you that I learned. This was my theme for 2013. I used to have themes every year. I may bring that back in 22. So in 2013, my theme was you can't negotiate genuine desire. You can't negotiate genuine desire. That's why I don't scream, I don't yell, I don't force people to do stuff or force a deal or, you're going to sell this to me or if you don't do this, we're going to sue you. I just don't care. Because if you really want to do business, you'll do business. If you really want to be in a relationship, it's super easy. If you really want to be in a partnership, it shouldn't be a tug of war. And that makes your life about 10 times easier when you realize that. I'll give you a good example. Years ago, I had a couple of departments that I ran when I had a W-2 gig. And our employer was extremely generous with education benefits. They would pay for your school 100%. And they would even give you paid time off to go to a class. Like, think about that for a minute. My employer paid for my graduate degrees. In fact, here's the really cool part of the deal. My employer would come in and say, Jason, I will pay you to go to school. I'll pay for your books, pay for your tuition. I'll pay for all of it. And here's the other side of this thing. I will also give you a promotion when you graduate. And I looked around and I'm like, is this a joke? Like, wait a minute. You want me to get more educated as an employee and then you're going to give me more money? And the boss said, yeah, that's how it works. Wait, let me get this straight. You're going to give me a little bit of time off to go do my school thing, which you're going to pay for. You're going to pay for all my school. And then when I graduate, you're going to give me more responsibility, which is going to make me more marketable. And you're going to give me more money. Absolutely. Now, because I'm more marketable, that probably means I'll become, of such great value to this organization that even if we do have some troubling times, I'll be the last guy to go. Yeah, that's how that works. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So I'm looking around in my department at my peers, and less than 50% of the folks there took advantage of this opportunity. And I remember I used to go out to lunch and happy hours with people. I'm like, man, why are you not in graduate school? Oh, it takes some extra time. I got to study stuff on the weekends, and I just don't have the time. I'm like, wait a minute. They're going to pay for it, give you some time, and then they're going to give you more money when you're done. Like, where's a little bit of time is the downside? I'm doing it. And I'll tell you right now, 100%, this organization would not be where it was or where it is now if I didn't do those things 15 years ago. Like, here's a bunch of nonsense I hear all the time. Man, I don't need to go to college because, I'm just going to get into real estate. I'm like, dude, you don't even know how to read a balance sheet. Like, do you think the fact that you can just skip all of that learning, professional learning and college, and then just start running like a $40 million portfolio? I mean, some people do, but I'd rather do both. Let's do a little college, let's get a good job, and let's start investing in real estate. You can do all three. In fact, here's what I'll tell you what Mr. Marketplace is telling me. Over the next generation, you're going to have a lot higher skill set to compete in this marketplace. There is a reason our company has done so well, like especially in the last 18 months. It has done amazingly well. Why? Because we're very sophisticated. We were kind of joking the other day. We've got some stuff going on in the office, and Rob was like, hey, I just want everybody to know, just because Jason shows up at the office in flip-flops and I wear punk rock t-shirts here to the office doesn't mean this isn't a very serious organization. And he's right. We kind of joke and banter back and forth and all that. But when you guys get behind the scenes, you're like, wow, this thing is crazy. The marketplace requires that to be competitive. There's a reason investors are struggling right now. Realtors are struggling right now. Now, there's the opposite. This market is insane. It requires an extremely high skill set, but we're successful. Folks in our mastermind are wildly successful. Why is that? Because we speak the market's language. I'm not afraid of competitive markets at all. The more competitive, the better, because organizations like ours stand out. We get back from the break. We're going to talk more about the ultimate mentor, the marketplace. Jason Bible, Texas Real Estate Radio Network. Hold on one second. Last segment? Excellent. Welcome back, Jason Bible, Texas Real Estate Radio Network, here at the crown jewel of Houston real estate, the Texas Real Estate Investment Center, home of the world-renowned Mr. Texas Real Estate team. Today, we're talking about the ultimate mentor, which is the marketplace. I hear this one from single guys all the time, like, where are all the quality women at? I'm like, they're all over the place. At least in my circles they are. Like, maybe you're just, I will tell you all of the woes of folks out there when they complain about lack of deals, lack of success, just lack. What I find is it's because they are not worthy to compete in those marketplaces. And I know that is incredibly judgmental. Here's the amazing thing about having ideals. When you have an ideal, you are now the ultimate judge and arbiter. People are like, I don't want to be judged. I have an ideal. Therefore, I have to judge the world based off that ideal. You're going to get judged by me. That's just how it's going to work. Otherwise, we don't have any ideals, and we just kind of devolve into chaos. This is acceptable, this is not. And here's why. So when I hear people talk about, oh, there's no deals out there, there's no this, there's no this, oh, everybody's terrible. I'm like, you're just not worthy to compete in the marketplace. That's all it is. You just don't have the skills to compete. Now, the sooner we accept that, the sooner we can move past that and start getting better. But that's where most humans fall apart. They just give up, especially here in America, which is ridiculous. A buddy of mine just sent me a message. Rancher B, that's your new nickname, by the way, Rancher B. He sent me a note and he said, if you live in America, you won the birth lottery. And he's absolutely right. I can open up my phone right now and fix whatever deficiency I have in skill. How incredible is that? Not successful in a real estate deal? How did I mess this up? Let's go find out. Now, it's better if you're just in our mastermind group because all you have to do is open up your WhatsApp and then just send us, a message in our group chat. And then they'll go, oh, you did this wrong or this is wrong or you got to do this instead of that. I mean, we can fix it in real time. But I believe the real problem is humility. Now, you're going to find this ironic that I'm talking about this. But everybody thinks humility is like some downtrodden person that's under someone's foot. No, true humility is looking at the deficiencies you've got in your skills that is not allowing you to be successful in the market. That's humility. Most people do not have humility. They just don't. Here, I'll take it a step further. How do you expect to help someone else if you can't help yourself? If you're not the focus of your life, you will never be of value to other people. Oh, that's a pretty harsh truth, and it's true. If you are not the center of your life and you're always giving to others, you will never be of real value. You have got to be a strong, centered person to be of value to the world, period. You know, I was in emergency response like all my life. As soon as I turned 18, I was a lifeguard. And of course, before that, I was a Boy Scout. So I was a Boy Scout, you know, it's first aid, emergency response, all that sort of stuff. And then when I got into risk management and health and safety, I was HAZWOPER trained, if you guys are familiar with that. So you ever see one of those big chemical spills and those guys get in the moon suits? I was trained for all of that stuff. And the first rule from first aid and Boy Scouts all the way to industrial emergency response is you, meaning me, is priority one. Keep yourself safe. Because if you've got all of this training and you step into a situation that's unsafe for you as the rescuer, it's game over. No one's coming to get you. The first responder is the first responder for a reason. They're the first one there. A lot of times, they're the last one there. Who rescues the rescuer? This isn't a Marvel movie. Iron Man's not showing up. You're it, dude. You know, the guys that respond to those school shootings, first part of training is you need to be safe because you're the only guy that can stop this. It's no different in life. No one's coming to rescue you. That's a reality of the marketplace. So you can't help anyone else until you help yourself. I think it was Margaret Thatcher that said, I'm going to botch this quote, but I think she said the Good Samaritan had money too. If I'm not mistaken, that's the quote. It's hard to build the new wing at the Children's Cancer Center if you're broke. So the marketplace requires you to be extraordinary in something to be of value to the world. And what that requires is the humility in you to say, you know what? I'm making some pretty big mistakes here. Are they mistakes in judgment? In other words, I know better, but I'm not doing the right thing. Or is it a lack of skill? Both of which can be fixed. Like, none of this is terminal. But it requires humility to say, man, I'm not doing good here. I need to get better here. One of my little pet projects over the last year, if you guys watch my Facebook page, I'm a big fan of trance music. I have been since I was in college. I'm starting to do a little DJing this year, and I'm having an absolute blast with it. But every time we go out, we went out for two buddies of ours, Kevin and Paul, had their birthday Friday night. We had an absolute blast. I went to a new club I've never been to in town. We had so much fun. They played like chill music on the patio, dance, progressive trance inside. In fact, I got the DJ playing some old Armin van Buuren on the inside club. And then they had a Latino side, which for whatever reason, I've been loving the Latino dance music lately. I can't understand a word they're saying, but I'm absolutely loving it. So every time I go to a club, I walk up to the DJ booth. I tell the security, I'm like, hey, I just want to talk to DJ real quick. And they're like, okay, cool. We can tell you're not, inebriated or crazy. And the guy will come over, and I'm like, hey, man, if it's totally cool, like, I love watching I'm a DJ. I'm trying to learn this DJ thing, and would love to hang out with you behind the booth. And every single one of these guys, no matter how big the club is, like, bro, come on back. Come on up here, man. And they will literally let me watch, and we'll sit there and chat and just have a great time. Happened Friday night. I'm telling you, it happens at all the biggest clubs I go to, too. Small ones, big ones, doesn't matter. Because here's what I recognize. If I want to get into that space, I'm going to need to understand the language of the marketplace. I'm going to have to upgrade my skills because my skills aren't there yet. But that requires humility to say, hey, man, it's cool. If you don't want me back there, you're back there doing your thing. Like, you're doing a great job. Would love to chat with you. They go, oh, man, come on back here. I want to thank you for listening to the show today. I got one short segment here, and I will see you all tomorrow. It's Jason Bible, Texas Real Estate Radio Network.